everyone, Big Seven here, back for some more AFL SuperCoach content. This is going to be my last SuperCoach related video before the season starts. If you haven't already joined my group, the code is 921633. That's 921633. And I've also just created a head-to-head league with 20 spots in it. Code for that is 305295. That's 305295. Today I'm going to go through my biggest 7 traps as starting picks. So some of these picks, they might be relevant later on in the season, but there is absolutely no way none of these players are touching my starting side. The players I've chosen to be in this video, they are all 10% owned or higher. I didn't want to pick like random pods and bash those because what kind of video is that? They're pods for a reason. And at the same time, I didn't want to pick like obvious non-starting players like Dale Kickett and Wade Dirksen. I think he's like at 25% owned. Like I didn't want to name any of those guys. I will put my balls on the line. 7 players that are 10% owned or higher. Most of them are like 25% or higher. So without any more rambling, let's get into number 1, and that is the Bont. Yes, the Bont, he is an absolute superstar. There is no denying that. But there is no upside case for picking him. He's 30 years old, coming off a career high average, 130. And in the round 0 game, he spent time in the forward line. Even before that, he wasn't a pick for me. But I understand that Dogs needed to throw things around with like Artie Jones and Jordan Croft getting injured. Even without that, Bont wasn't a pick. 30 years old, no upside case. He's got an 110 in his cycle, so even if he had a big score, I wasn't going to pick him, but that's even less reason to pick him. He's got an early round bye, and he will be gettable later. I can almost guarantee that Bond will be down to like 600k by the time buys roll around. I'll put it as a guarantee that he is gettable for at least 620k before the buys, because I don't think he maintains that 130 average from last year. There's players that are cheaper than him, like Dacos, Butters, maybe even a few others that I think can creep past Bont this year. Bont will still score well, don't get me wrong, but he's going to be gettable later on. And I know some people argue, oh, he's going to be such a great captain early on. As if I'm not going to be happy captaining Butters or Dacos. Like, come on. Bont, he's a terrible pick, and 30% owned. Paying 700k for these kind of picks does not work and has not worked for the past 5 years. So Bont, he is a very clear fade for me, and he should be for you as well. Next up, Max Gawn, 12% owned, 690k. The argument is simple for this one. He's 34 years old, and are you really expecting him to get better with age? That just defies all logic. He also has a much worse supporting cast this year, a Melbourne team that I'm a Melbourne supporter. I'm not getting carried away by preseason. I think this is still I think this is the bottom 4 team. You go from having Petrarca and Oliver and Viney in the midfield to having like Jack Steele and Pickle was playing midfield last year, but guys like Rivers, Windsor, it's just not the same. It's a much worse supporting cast, and I think best case scenario, Gawn maintains his average, but he is very highly likely to regress on last year. So he's not a pick for me, and shouldn't be a pick for anyone else. Next, I've got a guy that is very highly owned, 57%, 119k, Liam Reidy. I just do not rate him as a player. When he has played in the past, he's been a low scorer and just not a good player. Very easily replaceable as well. Carlton were one of the few sides to play two rucks, and Sydney just ran all over them in the second half. I wouldn't be surprised if Reidy doesn't even get named for round one. He can get named for round one and dropped easily, and they can use like a Lewis Young or a Brody Kemp or someone in that vein as a second ruck rather than a Reidy who's like meant to be a ruck first, although like even then isn't much of a ruck. So I think he's a high chance of getting dropped. Carlton play a lot of early games, so he's not even useful for a loophole if he does get dropped. And just he's not going to be seeing my starting side, even at the cheap price of 119k. Even if he does hold, I think he struggles to average 40, and that'd be a slow call to 200k. So Reidy, absolute no go for me. Next up, it pains me to put this guy in because I'm very high on the talent, but it is Luke Jackson. He's just not as good of a scorer when he isn't the main ruck, and Sean Darcy will be the main ruck as long as he's playing. But I also think Justin Longmuir showed his cards a little bit. In the preseason game where Sean Darcy missed, Mason Cox was the majority ruck, and Jackson was like a bit of midfield, a bit of ruck, I think a little bit of forward as well. So Jackson's scoring has his highest scores have come when he's been the main ruck, and I just don't think that's going to happen this year. Unfortunately, I think it should happen. I think a good coach would have him as a main ruck, and you can get those matchups against bad rucks where Jackson could take them forward and just burn them with his athleticism. I don't think that's going to happen this year, though, which is a shame. Like I said, he's a huge talent, but I can't bring myself to start him. Even if Darcy gets injured, I think Freo have showed their hand, and Mason Cox would come in as the main ruck. So struggling to find the upside for Jackson apart from like natural progression in like a midfield role. But yeah, someone I begrudgingly have to say no to, even though the talent's obvious. The coach and role not in his favour. Next up, I have Cooper Duff-Tytler. He's a young talent, 18% owned, 190k. Has shown good signs in preseason, but that has come as a key forward. And key forwards normally take a few years to develop. Not to mention, like he will be a key forward in a bad side. West Coast will be bottom four this year. But even someone like Aaron Cadman, who like I really like him as a talent, but he had an awful rookie year, and like in terms of Supercoach scoring, that is an awful rookie year. And Duff-Tytler, I think, will be pretty similar. High price, low ceiling, bad team. There's a decent chance he loses money from that price point. I'm not worried about having ruck cover if the ruck cover is only going to score in the 30s and 40s. So Duff-Tytler, yeah, if it was 120k, I would be interested. And there could even come a time in the middle of the season when like he just loses enough money where he drops low enough and gets better in the second half of the year and becomes a pick. But as a starting pick, I'm not going near him. Next, I've got Nasiah Wanganeen-Milera, 61%. That'll definitely drop. I mean, all these percentages are as of Monday afternoon. And I think this video will come out on Wednesday. So
he's another one that's just a very talented player, but he goes from playing majority backline last year, a little bit of midfield time, to majority midfield this year, and probably a little bit of forward time.
As we saw in round zero against Collingwood, he was pretty heavily tagged. Did spend a bit of time in the forward line, and I think, and not a lot of teams will use that blueprint, but enough of them will. He also has an early round bye and low score in the cycle. He's definitely someone that's going to be an upgrade target for me, but off the low score with an early bye. And I don't think he averages as much as he did last year either. I think it probably strikes me a little bit Sheasel-esque, where Sheasel came off like a 116 or 17 average in 2024 and was down to 107 last year. Granted, Nasiah Wanganeen-Milera better side and another year in the system, so I don't think the fall off is that dramatic. But 110 to 115, I'll let him lose a bit of money. He'll be an upgrade target for me, not a starting pick. Last player I have put in the 7 is Zeke Uwland, another youngster, highly talented, just under 200k. I've seen enough signs though that I don't think he's going to be good enough in the start of the year. If he if you do pick him, I think he's going to be a slow burn in terms of cash generation, and you don't want that at 200k. He was underwhelming in the practice game, and then against Geelong, he kind of got shown up a bit. Got monstered by Dempsey in the fourth quarter, particularly, but also third quarter as well. It just seems like someone that I can see the talent, but I think it's going to take him a little bit to adjust to AFL level. And the time on ground was also pretty low for Zeke Uwland. I think it was only in the 60s in terms of percentage wise. So that isn't a good thing either. If we were desperate for rookies, then sure, I could see Zeke being a pick, but there's better defenders to pick, like Jake, Sarong, Gibcus, Grill, Selwood, Lindsay. I would pick all of those guys in defense before I pick Zeke. And I don't think Zeke is worth picking in midfield. Those spots are pretty limited. I don't think he's good enough to put on field. And you don't want 200k rookie just sitting on your bench scoring 40s and 50s. So Zeke won't be a pick for me. That sums things up. Like I said, this will be the last SuperCoach video before the season starts. So best of luck to you. Team reveal most likely coming out on Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening. Don't want people completely copying the team. It hasn't really changed too much from my last team reveal. There's a couple of little tweaks, but not wholesale changes. So look forward to showing those off. And yeah, can't wait for footy for all teams to be involved. Opening round was decent. Like, it doesn't really feel like footy starts until Richmond play Carlton at the MCG, in my opinion, though. So, yeah, best of luck for the Supercoach season. And yeah, team reveal will be out on the weekend, and then there will be regular videos every week afterwards. So, as per usual, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you for the next video.